I'm good. Little steps. These aren't as bad.
I'll just give you a brief explanation now. So down in Bucksborough, you get the opportunity to come right in front of St. Peter's too. Bucksborough is obviously the cemetery of books. Many books buried down here. There's 149 books buried overall at this facility. Many of them are down in Bucksborough, and some of them upstairs. For example, John Paul II in St. Peter's Basilica. But the most important spot in the Bucksborough is obviously Peter's tomb. And I'm going to answer a very fundamental question that probably has since the beginning of this tour, and that is about Peter's tomb. What's that question?
The wood on his feet.
I wasn't expecting that question, but
If he still has the wood on his feet.
Oh yeah. But are these his bones?
That's
Yeah. Because it's been 2,000 years. It's a very legitimate question. How do we know those are his bones? So obviously, I'll just backtrack a moment. As I just told you a moment ago, Peter's famous excavated in the state of Mexico to the side. His body's put down. He's buried over here in this location of Necropolis. And centuries later, Emperor Constantine, famous battle of Ponte Milvio, he built a basilica known as the Basilica of Constantine. So what we see here today is actually the new St. Peter's Basilica. The original Basilica of Constantine, which actually, when you go down to the Bucksborough, you actually see the foundation of the Basilica of Constantine. It was originally here for 1,200 years, so it's technically longer than the Basilica we see today. But in the 1500s, Pope Pius II decided to knock it down and build a bigger prayer room. It went into the largest prayer, the 1,000 years. These large prayers, so they decided, let's just knock it down and build a new one. What we see today is what took them 120 years to build. You see many great the list goes on. But originally the Basilica of Constantine was here. So anyway, a few centuries later, Emperor Constantine put the Basilica of Constantine here. It was in 1914. But still, it's a long time. For centuries, Christians come here to this place. Purely on tradition, purely on belief that Peter is buried here. And Michelangelo built this amazing dome that hangs over St. Peter's Basilica. He famously says, I built this for St. Peter. Just purely by tradition, belief that Peter was buried there. Now, it's not scientifically proven per se in the 1940s. So after the death of Pius XI, one of the previous popes, he places a request in his will that he wants to be buried closer to him as St. Peter. Pius XII, the pope is reigning during the Second World War, he commissions excavationists to go deep down below St. Peter's Basilica, start digging towards a location where by tradition they've always believed Peter to be buried. When they start digging down there, and they eventually arrive to the location where they've always believed by tradition believed to be buried, and they arrive to a marble wall. Inscribed on this marble wall in Greek, and what they decipher, it says, Peter is within. They enter this tomb, they find these bones, and they find this man's body. But there's one thing missing from this man's body. What's that one thing? Not the wood, the feet.
Yeah.
Feet. This man's feet are missing. Because if you remember when Peter's crucified upside down, later on they cut down his body but leave his feet on the crucifix. So this man's feet are also missing. So a very interesting indication, hey, a lot of people's feet could be missing after 2,000 years. Do you agree? So they start carving down this man's bones. And they find that this man is around the same age as Peter when taken inside the stadium. around 60, 70. They also find he has a big bone structure. Apparently he's from Nazareth, and he has a fisherman's diet. Do you remember Peter was a fisherman before he became apostle? He's pretty strong, especially in those days, to do that kind of work. And also probably a lot of fish. So after years of research on the concept of Pope Paul VI, there's two you'll see downstairs there as well, he famously announced in public that we found convincing evidence that these are Peter's bones. Apparently says we're 99% certain, we leave the 1% to faith. So many people do believe these are Peter's bones. And obviously, if you want to find out more about Peter's tomb, there's another tour I'd recommend you taking. It's organized specifically by the Vatican. It's known as the Scavi Tour, which you can go deep down into the necropolis. Now, don't worry, we'll be up close to Peter's tomb anyway, where his bones are now located. But in the necropolis, you can go further down to the original location, deeper down where Peter's bones were located. But usually, you have to book it months in advance. There's only like 200 people in each day. But it is worth doing. I do strongly recommend it. But anyway, guys, great. We're going to go down to the Pope's Grotto now. Now, obviously, it is a cemetery. I know you guys wouldn't, but obviously it is worth mentioning. But please do refrain from taking selfies, singing, dancing. Just the very things you just wouldn't do when you visit a relative in the cemetery. Obviously, the same applies here. A lot of people buried down here. And you can take photos, so just a selfie next to a dead man's tomb is a bit, you know, a bit strange. Anyway, I'll just do a quick head count. Just make sure we're all here. So just stand still. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, guys. So let's go.
Uh-huh.
Adrian or Adrian?
Adrian.
Adrian.
John Paul II. Quello di là diceva. Excited.
C'è anche la moneta.
Oh, scusa.
Qualcosa del piccolo. Small is the biggest.
Quella era la basilica di San Pietro, più piccola, invece adesso andiamo in quella più grande, ancora.
Sorry, it's a bit hard to find me. Anyway, she's there, okay. So great guy, welcome to St. Peter's Basilica. So we're right when it's in the door. Now this... Okay. Right. Oh, okay. So right when the door, Michelangelo's, it's actually Michelangelo's last one. It's a gift to the church. It's essentially built this dome, it says they built this for St. Peter. Now the dome's over 300 feet high. So high, they took a parachute from the top of there, it's not the top of the parachute. As to why one would try and do that, just like the miniature Roman, well, he is known for his ambitious stuff, so we just might try if he knows. I personally met him. That's one good idea, it's a lot of energy. But see her now, take my content.
Directly above.
Si vous allez voir la crypte, vous allez sortir ici. D'accord? C'est un gros ici. Vous allez laisser un sens sur le c'est la sortie ici.
you need to leave. It's very simple in terms. No, you want it to be down?
No, I'm just asking.
So, no, we're nearly there, but we still got a few more things to go to do. But also, just to let you know, this basilica is extraordinary, and I do strongly recommend you after the tour. As everything here in this eternal city, you never see it all. And I've been here for many years, and I'm always discovering new things in this basilica. So, just be surrounded with the day of this basilica. I do strongly encourage you to continue to explore this basilica even after the tour. Come here on multiple visits. It's always free to enter the basilica itself, by the way, so just keep that in mind. Now guys, in front of us here is another beautiful altar. This altar is dedicated to St. Joseph, and it's a very important spot for both spiritual and historical reasons. On a spiritual level, it's obviously where the tabernacle is contained, so you see a metal casket on top of the altar there. As you may know, Catholics believe when the priest consecrates the bread and wine during Mass, they believe it transforms the body of Christ. The term known as transubstantiation. Usually after Mass, the priest will place the Eucharist into this tabernacle. So obviously, if you go beyond these red barricades, it's just for prayer. You can take photos on the outside, but when you go beyond these red barricades, it's just for prayer. Just to let you know, in case you go beyond there and you get an angry Italian security guard starts screaming, shouting, just so you're aware. It's also another important spot because down below in the tabernacle, below the tabernacle and the altar there is the relics of two apostles, Saint Simeon and Saint Judas, the good Judas, not the other one. Just to clarify, there was two Judas in the ranks of the apostles. Poor Saint Judas, no very really remember Saint. Always remember the good Judas. In front of the tabernacle, there's another altar. So there's two altars here actually. But the altar in front of the tabernacle is the spot where they believe Peter was actually crucified upside down. Because if you were here 2,000 years ago, this is where the Stay Member Caligula would have been. And this would have been more or less the middle part where the obelisk would have been originally located. So the obelisk is now in the center of this square. It used to be located around here. And they would have crucified all what they considered to be criminals there. There's four types of criminals for the Romans. Murderers, thieves, atheists, and Christians. They would all have been executed together here. During the intermissions of games. So during a pause between the chariot races, say, okay, it's side entertainment, let's bring out the Christians and crucify them. It's a very disturbing mentality, really. It's anyway, this is a very important spot.
Dan brauche ich nichts für dein
Opa!
Great guys, so now I'm going to explain you two very important architecture techniques that take that room throughout this whole basilica. It has something to do with these images. If you look at these